when did you kind of first get into publishing? I remember you saying something about you were doing math textbooks was kind of your earliest. Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about that, and then just yeah, your involvement through publishing.
Yeah, I mean the math textbooks was my first job, which is kind of crazy to think about. But I feel like a lot of people grow up wanting, when they're big readers as kids, they grow up wanting to be authors. And at one point, I looked over at a book on my shelf, and it said MT Books on the spine. It was the name of an imprint at Little Brown at the time, and that's my initials. And I went, wait a second, there's people who like create the books as opposed to writing the books. I want to do that.
Right.
I think I was like 12, 13 when I noticed that. And I certainly have enjoyed creative writing, but I've never identified as like a, writer and author. So I always wanted to be part of the creation of the books in any other way, shape, or form. So that sort of shaped where I went, into high school and into college. So my degree at Emerson College actually has publishing in the name. I was a writing, literature, and publishing major. And I chose that major because it had publishing in it. I didn't want just an English degree. I knew I could get that pretty much anywhere. I wanted, something very specific to publishing. And I had my heart set on being an editor, which I think a lot of people who want to break into the industry, want to do. And I ended up in the editorial department at Pearson, making college level math textbooks for about 2 years straight out of college. And I am not a math person. My last math class I took was, I think, junior year of high school. And it was more of a managing editorial role. So I was really helping get the books from manuscript to finished copy. There was not a lot of, math double checking that I was doing, but it was a foot in the industry. It was a way to figure out how books are made, how they go from an idea in an author's head to a finished copy, and sort of a crash course in sales too, how we get specifically textbooks in that, situation from the publisher to the people who need them. So it was a really interesting sort of intro into the industry, very different from what I do now, but gave me a lot of really great groundwork, I think, that helped in my future career.
Yeah, I love that you said that because we were having a conversation with Randy from the Blacklist, and he was just talking about all the details that go into a book. Like sometimes you only think at, okay, the publisher, and then you think maybe the writer. That's it, right? But there's all
Mhm.
those names and all those people that, even when you listen to like their acknowledgments, like all these people that put in the work to make this book become to be on that shelf, right? It's a lot of labor of love, but it's a whole team. It's kind of like a whole village that helps that book get onto a shelf. Was there any like other like roles in publishing do you think that are like kind of are important, but some people kind of overlook because of all the things that we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think, editorial and marketing are the two that people are most aware of and get a lot of, sort of airtime. Editorial because everyone, watched Younger with Hilary Duff when that was
Yeah.
on, and they were like, I can also have an imprint at 25. Not really how that works. And, marketing because a lot of book creators are interacting with marketers. That's their main point of contact into the industry. But I think the most important, honestly, that really get books from an idea in an author's head, like I said, to a finished copy are the ones that you don't really talk about or see very often. So I think managing editorial is a really great example of that. They're essentially the project managers that make sure that everything's on schedule and on time, and the manuscript is coming in, and the copy edits are coming in, and the author has their opinion on all these things, and getting the book cover design on time and printed, and all those boxes back to the warehouse on time for pub day. It's all of those really important, totally crucial details that the book doesn't exist without them. And they're a team that I think no one really knows a lot about. And then the other side of it on the marketing side, the marketers are the ones sort of creatively coming up with the campaigns across the board, working with the authors, working with creators. But we have an entire design team that creates marketing designs that you see, all of those assets you see on social media, all of those ads you see for books. There's a design team behind that. Very, very creative artists and people who are creating those from scratch for the marketing teams to then use to get out the word about the book. So I feel like those are roles that I work with every day and like are so, so, so important to the life of a book that people don't think about when they're looking to get into the industry or even when they're consuming the books. They're not thinking about those teams and how crucial they are.
If you enjoyed that clip, make sure you head over to www.bookupapp.com to download our app so you can connect with your favorite bookish content creators, start conversations, and start your own book club.